I woke up inflamed. I don't know what it was. I felt good on the 2nd and the 3rd, and then I woke up July 4th just inflamed. My body hurt, my jawline hurt. I don't know what was going on. My hips were tight. Everything was like seized up. And I was wondering, well, how am I going to run this 5K if I feel like this? I mean, I'm going to push through it because that's what I do. But I figured it was going to be one of the toughest runs of my life. I show up to the 5K. I'm all amped. It's 4th of July, baby. This is like my Christmas. This is one of the greatest holidays that's ever existed. And I'm ready to go. I'm looking at the competition. I'm going to kick your butt. I'm going to beat you. Yeah, they were 10 and 12-year-olds. It doesn't matter. I'm going to surpass them. So I'm looking around. You know, I'm there 30 minutes early, ready to go, starting to get hot. And then out of my peripheral, I just see something, right? In the sea of American flags, Americana, the red, white, and blue, baby. I see. I see this one girl with the Mexican flag. Yeah, you heard me correctly. I'm out there and I see a red, white, and blue. Everybody's supporting this great country. And there's some girl out there with the freaking Mexican flag tied around her neck, waving off her body. And I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing with the Mexican flag on a 4th of July 5K run? Like, what are you doing? And it wasn't like we were in LA County, folks. We were in Orange County. Orange County is like Republican territory. It's clean. There's no graffiti. There's no gangs. It's actually nice here. But, you know, hey, that one out of, I guess, 1,000 plus people. But I had to share that with you. It just shows the disrespect people have. And what was the bonkers thing? Her father or the person that adopted her, hell, I don't know, was like super patriotic. The guy had on all his Patriot gear. He had on all this swag for America. It's the oddest thing, weirdest thing, but I had to share with you guys. I would have taken a photo. I would have walked up to her like, oh, cool flag. Can I take a photo with you? But I'm almost positive she was a minor. She could have been 17, 18 years old, but it don't matter. I hope you all had a great and lovely 4th of July. Hopefully had a pretty lovely weekend. Obviously, there's a tragedy over there in Texas, which we will cover because just what the media is saying about this is just god awful. They're blaming Donald Trump for this event. It just goes to show you these people, it doesn't matter, you guys, what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. They're not well. These people are mentally really not well. And I'm not talking about the Democrat Party. I am specifically talking about a subset of group of people in this country that is of the progressive left that are really, really unhinged. They're like, I'm talking mental institution problems. That's the type of people I'm talking about. Well, let's get into it because Elon Musk, he said he was going to do something, and hey, you know what? Looks like he's following through. And what is that? Well, Elon Musk wants to start a new party, and he officially announces it. Elon Musk on Saturday evening officially announced the creation of a new political party, which he called the American Party. And I've heard some things about this. People go, well, we have a bunch of parties here in the United States already. Well, what's another one? The issue with this is there's a worry that this is going to split the Republican Party even further. Now, you already know there's people like me that are a part of the Republican Party, but I'm technically of a different one, meaning if there was a conservative party, I would be a part of that one. But since we all know what would happen, we go with Republican because Republican Party is the party that mostly aligns with what we do as conservatives. Not always. That's why it bugs me when people conflate the two, Republican and conservative. I'm not I'm a registered Republican, but I'm a fiscal conservative. There is a difference. Musk has been at odds with President Donald Trump over the One Big Beautiful Bill, which was signed into law on Friday. he has taken to the term uniparty to describe both Republicans and Democrats, claiming that neither party is willing to deal with spending. Now, he is correct on that. He is 100% right, but I'm not sure that you creating the America Party is going to be the solution to this spending. Hell, maybe term limits, which there are a bunch of states that already have signed on to do term limits. That would be nice to see. I think that would be a starting point, getting these people that have been in Congress their entire lives. I think it's like 70% of Congress under term limits would be removed. It's ridiculous. These people don't need to be in there. It's supposed to be an opportunity for you to serve your country and, get in, get out. By a factor of 2 to 1, you want a new political party and you shall have it, Musk said on X, referring to a poll the billionaire posted on Friday. When it comes to bankrupting our country with waste and graft, we live in a one-party system, not a democracy, he added. Today, the America Party is formed to give you back your freedom. Well, I don't know exactly what his values are in this America Party. You could just shout, well, I'm going to create a party, but give you back your freedom. I mean, what exactly are you referring to here? That's my biggest question. Because here we go. Because my viewpoint of politicians is you are just a tool. You're just a mechanism. You're an opportunity for me to have somebody represent my values and carry out those values in Congress. The problem is these people been in so long, they don't even do that anymore. And I would say there's a case to be made that the House of Representatives isn't actually representative of the people of the United States any longer. If you look at the shaping of the House of Representatives in terms of representing the proportion of people, one person represents a greater proportion of people than it ever has. So there's a case to be made that the House of Representatives should actually get bigger in terms of people, so you have an actual individual that would represent you on a smaller level. And what I mean by that is, say instead of somebody representing like 100,000 or 1 million people or whatever it is, that you would have an individual that would represent like 30,000 people or 20,000 people, and you would have a greater House of Representatives. At least that's what some people have said in terms of should it expand or shrink. I think it should expand. I think there should be a lot more House of Representatives, congressmen and women in there to represent people. I think we have a lot more people than we ever thought or imagined that we would have, but that's here nor there. So here we go. Is this the America platform ? Reduce debt, responsible spending only, modernize military with AI robots, pro-tech, accelerate to win in AI. So it's like, okay, how many times are you going to throw AI in here? Less regulation across board, but especially in energy, free speech, pro-nationalist, centrist policies everywhere else, if so. And he just said, yeah. Like, what? So other than reducing debt and responsible spending, I mean, this is everything that Republicans would want, right? Modern military, pro-tech, accelerate with AI, less regulation, especially with energy, free speech, I mean, you're just creating another Republican Party. Now, again, the conversation is, well, there is a party, but they're not willing to do the bidding of the American people. They're not willing to get things done. Well, I hate to break it to you, Elon. Even if you were to start another party, it ain't going to change. You want to know? I can tell you why. Is because you're not going to have people in Congress already set up to be a part of this party in the first place. If you're going to start a new party, which he says is going to start next year, people are asking, well, are you going to start it during midterms? He said no. Well, nobody in Congress is America Party. So let's just say, even if your party somehow won the office of the presidency or something, okay, you have a gridlocked Congress. That's one too. Also, make lobbying illegal. I like that one as well. So here's the vote, 65% to 34%, 1.2 million people. Now, it's weird because Elon's pretty smart. You know, this is just an observational study, meaning this could be skewed data in one direction. There could be a lot of biases seeped in here. This could be very reactionary to the political climate. Should we create an America Party? People are like, yeah, sure, that's fine. It's too general. It's not specific enough. So that's kind of what I have to say about that. I take this with a grain of salt. This is not actually representative of America at all. You can get a lot of Democrats in here that are willing to vote on this because they know that it would fracture the Republican Party and that basically you'd have a Democrat Party that would win. It's crazy. So we'll see. But it's not looking good because if Republicans are idiots, and look, there's a lot of idiotic Republicans out there, they'll go, oh, this is a great idea. And if Republicans screw us over, well, here we go. I mean, maybe that's also the side of it that might be a good thing. Again, I'm just kind of spitballing here, but maybe it's like Republicans go, oh, shoot, we better start getting our butts in gear because there could be another party and I'm going to be out of a job, or there's going to be people that aren't going to vote in another Republican president. We just lost. So there might be some good that comes out of this. We don't really know, but we will have to see. So anyone can make up a party. You and I can just make up a party. Yeah, pretty much. Yes. Like there's the Green Party, right? There's a Democrat Party. I think there's a progressive. There's a ton of parties out there. Remember, there used to be the Tea Party. We used to have that one. Wish that one actually grew. I like that one. So here we have a CNN Republican questions wisdom of Musk's third party. I think this might be the Dana Bausch, Scott Jennings clip. Let me make sure I have this queued up. Here we go.
Looks to start a political party, and we'll see where they go with it. My humble advice to Elon, who I admire very much, actually, is that you may be dividing the forces of people who want to save Western civilization to the benefit of the people who don't. And so to the extent that this effort would divide conservatives and Republicans against each other, that would be helpful because it would leave the country to people who want unfettered immigration, who don't share your fiscal views, and so on and so forth. So we'll see where it goes. I sort of hope everybody puts the band back together the way they had it back in 2024, because when everybody was working together, things worked quite well.
I'm just curious, if they're on the side of Western civilization, what's the other civilization that people want?
Not Western civilization.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. I think people.
Terrible.
I think civilization.
Values, not Western civilization.
I think there are lots.
There's only two routes with what this gentleman is doing. Either he is actually that blind to what's going on in politics, or he's playing this stupid game of acting dumb. Well, what's the other civilization? Acting as if the progressive left want Western civilization. They are literally out there in the streets protesting on behalf of terrorists, and these terrorists want to wipe Western civilization off the face of the earth. And that's not my words, that's their words. So why do we play stupid here? I mean, there's one party that wants open borders, and that's called the Democrat Party as well. They've been clear with that, clear as day. There's one party that wants to destroy our economy by revamping everything to make it part of the Green New Deal. Gee, that's the Democrat Party. Well, when you open borders, that's going to change the culture and the dynamics of this country. And that's why we did a whole article. There's a brand new article up at baldbrad.com. I basically elaborated a little bit more with a conservative viewpoint of what Matt Walsh came out with of the Daily Wire. And I added in a little bit more information in terms of Germany. Like I said, historical points of what happened at specific times. Highly recommend you check out that article. And then also seeing what the Democrat Party is willing to vote for in terms of having its representation. If you look at AOC, if you look at Bernie Sanders, if you look at Zohran Mamdani, these people are socialist. That is not a Western value, by the way. It's not. They'll say it is, oh, well, it's been Western nations that have wanted to inculcate this value. And if you look at the Nordic countries and how they really started and how they are now, and it just boggles the mind that there's people that continue to point towards these small countries. They're homogeneous, where if you look at the healthcare system, homogeneous means they're all the same, right? If you go to South Korea, you're going to see a lot of what? South Koreans. If you go to Germany, not so much now, but when you used to, you saw a lot of Germans. You go to Ireland, you're going to see a lot of the Irish. You go to Scotland, you're going to see a lot of Scottish. You come to the United States, you're going to see everybody. So we're a heterogeneous economy, we're a heterogeneous population, meaning it's very tough to create systems that cater to everybody, especially when you have genetics that play into people's health. You have all these things that play into people's lifestyles, cultures. And so it's always frustrating when people try to compare a heterogeneous society to a homogeneous society, one that's vastly bigger, has a lot of different other homogeneous populations mixed within it compared to just a one subset of group of people that are kind of tackling one major thing in terms of health. Now, I've oversimplified it, but you get what I'm talking about. I don't know why they play stupid. I really, really don't. But Scott is correct here, as always, and he's a freaking national treasure. Let's see what people have to say here in the comment section. There's a lot like wait, what the hell? There is a lot to like about Elon, and I thank him for all he has done for our country, but this looks like a giant FU money to America because Elon didn't get what he wanted. Yeah, who is this? Cash Lauren, you're right. That's exactly. This is somebody throwing a temper tantrum, and it's kind of like one of those Nepo babies, even though Elon Musk is not a Nepo baby. The guy, genius, created a bunch of companies, PayPal to kind of kick it off and kind of set his way with SpaceX and Tesla and the Boring Company. So he's not a Nepo baby, but what I'm talking about there is when you get these people that are so wealthy, they start throwing temper tantrums because they didn't get their way. They've got their way for so long that they've actually forgotten what it's like just to be like a normal human being. It's kind of like Mark Zuckerberg, right? He forgot how to smile. The guy doesn't know what it means to be like a normal human being anymore. Western values are under fire. We need reinforcement, not rivalries. Correct. Scott has to deal with Ron Paulers, the same as the rest of us. While it makes for good TV time discussion, the likelihood this bunch was going to be a long-term Republican support group was a long shot. Their impact will be minimal and their reach extremely limited. We'll see with that, but that's the news with that one. Donald Trump did come out and say that Elon Musk, a train wreck third-party push, will cause chaos. Now, the hope is that this whole thing kind of fissures out. We got about 3.5 years to get our you-know-what together. And that's the thing, is the news cycle changes all the time. I always say the American people have the brain span of a gnat, like a goldfish. And that's not me belittling American people. It's that the news cycle moves so quickly all the time. And we've done this kicking of the can down the road so many times that people forget. And people are willing to put aside stupid behaviors as long as they're benefiting from that stupid behavior. And that's the hope that what we're going to get out of this is, was this stupid behavior? It truthfully was. It is. I've always said I'm a fiscal conservative. There's a lot of things in the bill that I liked in terms of border spending, in terms of revamping the Medicare, Medicaid stuff, of getting people off it that shouldn't be, like illegals or specifically able-bodied men that can't get their ass off the couch and start contributing to society. Those things I think are important. Let me show you an example here. Let me show you an example of what I'm talking about. Let me go to my page and I'll give you a prime example because I just reposted this as I was laying in bed with my crusty eyes. Well, I thought I had it. Oh God. Let me see if I can find the video now. There's this video of this mom that was popping off about 6 kids and food stamps. Let's see if this is the video. And I was looking at her groceries that she was picking up. First of all, ton of groceries. Here it is.
Again, that's food stamp day for me. I placed my food delivery order last night, so it got here today at 11 o'clock. This time I got 90 items for $492. I made a video like this last time. All y'all was worried about was if I had stairs and if I tipped. Second of all, I did not tip. That's what y'all want me to say. That's what I'm going to say. Use y'all common sense when y'all be saying stuff in the comments. I don't give a fuck about y'all paying the taxes on these food stamps for me to be able to get them. I don't give a damn. And y'all be like, as long as the kids eat, exactly. So I'm feeding these kids with them food stamps that y'all using to spend y'all taxes or whatever the fuck y'all want to call it. I said most of y'all was mad in my last post. That's exactly what the fuck y'all be. Y'all be mad as hell. Anyways, y'all, this is my first order. I gotta make another order, but I'm gonna make it within a couple weeks because my freezer is going to be full. One thing I need to invest in is a deep freezer because then I will have so much freaking room. I feel like if I was to have all that food up in here, I would just want to make food just because. If you know, you know. Y'all know when kids see shit, they all of a sudden want to eat everything. At least my kids be doing that shit.
Can we just talk about this order that she has? And I can't see what's inside the bags, but I see a lot of junk food, by the way. dude, this shit roused me up. I might go on a rant here. This gets me. I think in my lifetime, me personally as an adult, I don't think I've ever bought this much food in my life. Granted, I don't have 4 kids. But dude, even for barbecues, I don't think I've had friends over. I've had like 12, 15 people over. I don't think I've ever bought this much food. Dude, look at all the junk. I mean, what? Propel? Really? Like, oh, I got to get my electrolytes in? Lady, you ain't exercising, man. This looks like root beer, maybe? Hell, I don't know. More like energy drink, sugary stuff. Look at the Sprite, the soda everywhere. Bottled water. I mean, the amount of juice that you have is insane. This is oil. I mean, at least you're going to be doing some cooking, hopefully, with that. But that looks like Doritos or something in that bag right there. It looks like a Dorito sign. Look at the chip box here. Well, the kids got to eat. Dude, if you're on food stamps, doesn't that mean that you're struggling and you're buying all this shit food? I would have zero, you guys, I would not be complaining if I saw like there was a ton of, chicken thighs or chicken breast to make sure the kids are getting their protein. Loaves of bread everywhere. Like, I would get all that. I don't care about the freaking oil. Hey, you got to cook with oil in the pan. Where's like the basics, the milk for the calcium? Where's the eggs, the bread? I wouldn't even mind a box of cereal here or there. But dude, if you're on food stamps, the goal is, I'm going to fucking lose my shit. I hate this shit, dude. I don't mind helping people. I really, really don't. But the goal of this is for you not to stay on this. It's to help yourself get off of it. It's a safety net, not a fucking hammock. Get off the hammock and go get yourself some real job. And what the hell are you doing having 4 kids as a single mom at 25 years old? What the flying fuck? I'm so tired of having to pay for somebody's stupid ass behavior that clearly themselves don't give a fuck, is what she said. That's not my words. That's her words. I quote, here's an exact quote. I don't give a fuck about y'all paying the taxes on these fucking food stamps for me to be able to get them. I don't give a damn. Well, if you don't care, cut her ass off. Unbelievable, man. I'm trying to keep it together, but this is exactly right. This person got it exactly right. 2 types of shoppers. That ain't even me on the right, by the way. I went to Costco this weekend. Anybody want to guess my order? And you guys been with me for years. You know my order. Just guess my Costco order. Look at no head. Yeah, you guys see? Oh my God. He truly is bald. This is so true. It's head spinning. By the way, when I went to Costco, I didn't even get a shopping cart. So that tells you everything you need to know right there. I got 2 rotisserie chickens. There was one other thing. It might have been protein bars. I'm telling you, I can only remember maybe once or twice ever seeing this in my lifetime, in my personal life, this style of shopping cart right here. And I lived with a family of 4, meaning my parents and my sisters. The only times I ever saw a shopping cart this full was when we were going out for like 2 weeks on a camping trip. Bullshit, man. Sorry to cuss, but it really, I'm so tired of it, man. People mooching off the system. That's why, again, that's why I don't have qualms with this whole Medicare, Medicaid thing that they're talking about, or whatever the hell up there, where it's like there's people that are able to work that don't. I'm not referring necessarily to her. Just people in general love to mooch off the system because people are lazy and they can't get up off their ass and do anything. Not everybody. Some people are bedridden. Some people have health issues. I'm not talking about the people that should be on these things. But most of the safety nets we have in this country for people is just that. It's a safety net so that it will take care of you for a short amount of time so you can go find a job, or so you can go find 2 jobs. And I'm so tired of us enabling this bad behavior of, well, I'm a single mom with 4 children. How about you close your fucking legs? How about you do that? Maybe we should have tied up the tubes after the first one. And there's probably multiple baby daddies. I don't care if it's black, white, Hispanic. I don't give a shit who you are. I'm tired of the bad behavior. If you can't feed a kid, if you can barely feed yourself, close your legs. It's not a difficult thing. Go rub one off watching porn or something, whatever the hell. I guess we can't say the P word on here. Fuck. Like, go get a bunch of toys at a sex shop or something if you got problems. You know what I mean? Figure it out. Just close your legs. Pull out every once in a while. Do you know what I mean? Jesus. Jeff says, well, it's hard not to spend $100 on Costco. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not saying my lifestyle is the lifestyle everybody should go with. I'm not. But there you go. Angel. See, thank you. I mean, I'm telling you, we have the best community here. Angel said it perfectly. I waited 8 years after marriage before having 1 kid. Angel gets it. Why? I come back to that dude that we were watching on the thing. Why do we all play stupid? Why do we all play stupid? Like we don't have personal responsibility, or we can and cannot do something. Yeah, Danielle. Brad just said pull out. Yeah. You don't need to be going in there guns blazing. And by the way, why would you get that woman pregnant, dude? She sounds like an idiot. Can you imagine living with that thing? Jeez, I don't give a motherfucking damn about this shit, Jerry. These motherfucking taxpayers, I don't give a shit, Jerry. Remember Jerry Springer? Jerry, Steve. All right, let's get into some different news here because this is actually terrible and it's sad. We got updates here with death toll spikes in Texas as search for missing girls continues, or others continue. Just a tragic, blindsided people story. And I was watching a lot of TikTok videos yesterday on meteorologists talking about this, and I'll show you like a clip or two about what I'm referring to. I think I added it to my repost. Hopefully I did. Come on, past Brad, make future Brad happy. Okay, so this is actually not even the most updated version, by the way. There's more than this, but at least 51 bodies, including 15 children, have been recovered from the flooding that started on Friday in Texas. I was actually at dinner with a buddy of mine that's here from Texas just last night, actually, and we were talking about this over dinner. Meteorologists say it was a once in 100 years rainfall in a very flash flood prone area. The Guadalupe River reportedly rose 26 feet, you guys, in 45 minutes. I want to point out again, and this is the reason they're going to see why this connects later on to the stories here, because they're blaming Donald Trump for this, about his cutting funding to the weather service, all this stuff. We'll get there, I promise. 26 feet in 45 minutes. When I say I looked at multiple meteorologists giving their take on this, they all said, and the fact that you're getting all of them says everything you need to know. They were all saying this is not Donald Trump's fault. This is like a black swan event is what they said. There was no telling that it was going to be this dramatic and this crazy. 26 feet in 45 minutes is nuts, man. Nuts. So rescue efforts are still underway for those missing, including 27 girls from Camp Mystic, a private Christian all-girls camp along the Guadalupe River. Just horrific. Look at, you could see how high it was. I mean, that has to be almost 6 feet where the water level was coming up right there. Look at that. Almost up to the top of the door frame. Just awful. The record-breaking flooding in Texas has already claimed 43 lives. Again, it's way higher than that now. It has to be. I think it's like almost probably 60 right now. Maybe some of you can correct me in the chat. We have every press conference update is a gut punch. 43 confirmed. Like I said, it's more than that. It's like every time, like this guy said, every time there's a press conference, it's more and more people. Additionally, officials have revealed more details about the flooding near Camp Mystic, a private all-girls Christian camp located near Guadalupe River. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick said the camp was packed with 750 girls, and young camp counselors helped usher hundreds of girls to safety during the night. There was heroism yesterday everywhere, he said. We're not going to give up looking for them, noting that 27 girls are still missing. It's just, my whole body is goosebumps, not in a good way.
Before I came on air, and we're going to hear these stories more and more from parents who text me. They were bringing their little girl who was spared home, and they asked her what happened. And I'm not using any names, but she said they were awakened, and the water was at the door. The camp counselor took a rock and smashed it. It was heroism yesterday everywhere. And these camp counselors, again, 750 girls in this camp, and we have 27 missing, and we're not going to give up looking for them. We're not going to give up looking for them. And we're all in, and we're praying for these families.
I'm still blown away by that much rain in 45 minutes. Is actually, it's hard to fathom. It really, really is. So here's Governor Greg Abbott, I believe, on Fox, talking about these floods. Here's some breaking from Nick Sorter.
To bless our great state. We'll take a few questions.
Have the numbers changed? 27 dead and 27 missing from Camp Mystic.
Sure.
What I can tell you is there's still 27 missing. We have recovered some additional bodies at this time. We're trying to identify at this time. What I can tell you, an update, there's 32 deceased. 18 of those are adults and 14 are children. 5 of the adults remain unidentified and 3 children remain unidentified. We are still working on that this time. As I said earlier this morning, the numbers are going to continue to change. They're going to continue to change till we're done. It's been a very good day as far as being out there and being able to do some things, and we've got a lot done.
But you can, early on, there was a lot of conflicting information.
I mean, they are on top of it, by the way. The Trump administration's on top of it. Trump's like, whatever you need, just literally call me. I am going to give it to you immediately. I will send in the military. You got military craft. Trump's like, I don't care what it is. It's not like Joe Biden that didn't give anything to North Carolina. So here is Trump's tweet. The administration is working with state and local officials on the ground in Texas in response to this tragic flooding that took place yesterday. Our Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, which you saw in that clip, I was circling her, she had the hat on, will be there shortly. Melania and I are praying for all the families impacted by this horrible tragedy. Our brave first responders are on site doing what they do best. God bless the families and God bless Texas. The Trump administration is working with state and local officials. Yeah, so we got that already. So he's come out and said, look, I'll just give you whatever you need. It doesn't matter. But just young girls born in 2017, just god awful. God awful. So here's Dana Bash. I'm really trying not to do rants, man. I know you guys get a kick out of it. But yeah, it's just, bro, it hasn't even, it's the time between this flood and we haven't even found all the bodies. It's climate change. It's like, get off TV, you nut job. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You don't have the brain span to be on TV, lady. That's really what it is. And look, I'm not on TV. I'm not saying I deserve to be on TV. I'm an idiot. But at least I acknowledge that.
How much do you think the changing climate is part of what we are seeing go on here? Not just what we're seeing in the pictures that we're showing on the screen, but even the flood that you talked about in San Antonio in June.
No, I think climate change is obviously a part of it. These floods are happening more often in more parts of the country and really all over the world. And so we have to face that reality and be better prepared for it and combat it.
And just talking about the federal government and even the local government, 2 Texas National Weather Service offices involved in forecasting and warning about flooding on the Guadalupe River are missing some key staff members. A director of the NWS union told CNN that the Austin San Antonio office is missing a warning coordination meteorologist due to the Trump administration's buyouts. Do you have any indication whether those or other cuts helped play a role in the fact that the people in the flood zone were not prepared and certainly not evacuated?
I can't say that conclusively, but I do think that it should be. And I don't think it's helpful to have missing key personnel from the National Weather Service not in place to help prevent these tragedies. And, when I say that we ought to do everything possible to help prevent a tragedy like again, that's part of what I mean. That's why there's an incredible value to the National Weather Service, is because, on most days, obviously, you're not going to have a tragedy like this. But when you have flash flooding, there's a risk that you won't have the personnel to do that analysis, do the predictions in the best way, and it could lead to tragedy. So I don't want to sit here and say conclusively that that was the case, but I do think that it should be investigated, and not having enough personnel is never helpful.
It's just, it's unbelievable, the reporting. So here's an update from the Associated Press. Whoops, there goes the narrative. So this is from End Wokeness. Weather Service has extra staffers. The National Weather Service office in New Braunfels, which delivers forecasts for Austin, San Antonio, and the surrounding areas, had extra staff on duty during the storms, where the office would typically have 2 forecasters on duty during clear weather. They had up to 5 on staff. Quote, there were extra people in here that night, and that's typical in every weather service office. You staff up for an event and bring people in on overtime and hold people over. Gee, weird why we are saying all this fake news. Here are the facts for anyone spreading misinformation about the lack of warning for the Texas flood. A flash flood warning was issued by the NWS for Kerr County at 1 a.m. on Friday. 7-4, followed by a severe flood emergency warning at 4, and another for Kernville at 5:30. Yeah, here's the difference between, I think this is the 2 weeks after North Carolina flood versus 2 weeks, or 2 days rather, after the Texas flood.
The former president is falsely accusing federal relief agencies of maliciously withholding and misusing aid. Take a listen.
We give foreign countries hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're handing North Carolina $750. If you want a president who won't even try to save you when the floodwaters are rising, vote for Kamala.
What you just heard is not true. They're rumors and they're lies, and they are hurting the very people that thousands of FEMA emergency responders are trying to help. It's raw politics and dangerous politics. A lot of the people who are believing these lies are Trump voters. Why is he spreading misinformation in a crisis like that? And does that concern you about your fellow North Carolinians?
You have migrants being housed in luxury hotels in New York City. We have paid so much money from our tax dollars into the crisis that didn't need to happen. We could redirect money to help people immediately on the ground in North Carolina.
Laura, they're saying
Florida,
that they have
probably going to have a situation coming up in the next several days.
That's a separate tranche of money. That's a separate tranche of money.
Just talking about the federal government and even the local government, 2 Texas National Weather Service offices involved in forecasting and warning about flooding on the Guadalupe River are missing some key staff members. A director of the NWS union told CNN that the Austin San Antonio office is missing a warning coordination meteorologist due to the Trump administration's buyouts. Do you have any indication whether those...
It's unbelievable. And here's George Stephanopoulos. Here's he in ABC blaming the Trump administration. Here we go.
Also learning that there were significant staffing shortfalls of the National Weather Service's offices in the region.
You know, George, as of right now, the local county officials really didn't want to address that just yet. What they are telling us is they expected between 4 and 6 inches of rain. That is what weather experts told them, the National Weather Service as well. They also knew that in remote locations, they might get anywhere from 8 to 10 inches. But this amount of rain in such a short amount of time, it was very difficult to navigate. And when the Department of Homeland Security Secretary was here just yesterday, she acknowledged this was an issue. She was going to take these concerns to the White House as well and try and see if there was anything they could do to revamp the system. She says the president is committed to it.
Maria, thanks very much.
If you notice, she didn't answer his question because it has nothing to do with anything. You're going to blame Trump for this. And by the way, they already, again, as I showed you, had more staffers there than what they're reporting. Oh, well, we heard there was like some switch up in staffing amongst like, they're just like, shut up. So let's go to the actual video clips here of the meteorologists. Both of these videos have over 400,000 views on TikTok. So here's a couple of them, okay? So I'll show you the guy first. Here we go.
Thoughts here that I'm having about the catastrophic and deadly flooding in the Texas Hill Country. I'm a meteorologist. I've been forecasting in Texas for 25 years. First things first, all of our thoughts should be with the families of these little babies, these little girls who were at camp, who got swept away by this unforeseeable, unimaginable, basically a tsunami of flooding from the Guadalupe River. It was a freak event. There are people on this app right now who have been celebrating the deaths of these children, laughing, celebrating, putting stupid emojis because Kerr County, Texas voted for Donald Trump. You're sick. You're sick people. You're disgusting, sick people. All right? I have been a part of many freakish forecasting events where the amount of rain that came down was almost unforeseeable. So let me just summarize it for you. Did the Weather Service do a fantastic job with this? No, it wasn't an A-plus job, and I would hope that they would admit that. It was not an A-plus job. All that being said, is it their fault that this happened? Absolutely not. 1,000,000% no. They did what they could with all the information they had. There were flood watches up. There were flood warnings that were issued when necessary. Local media out there conveyed the threat for flooding of 3 to 6 inches of rain. I don't think anybody could have foreseen a river rising 20 feet or 25 feet in an hour or something the way it did. It's a freak event. It's what people call a black swan event. It's not anything that could be foreseen, unfortunately. Now, there will have to be kind of a postmortem on everything. Did Camp Mystic know that they were in a flood zone? Do we need to be stricter about being in a floodplain or a flood zone during flash flood watches or during flood watches? Do we need to take a closer look at that? Yeah. I think we need to have a better way of communicating emergency weather information so that people's phones aren't constantly blowing up with warnings that aren't happening where they are. I mean, look, my phone knows where I am right now. That's how I use Apple Maps. If I want to get myself to someplace I don't know where I'm going, I type it in, the phone knows exactly where I am. So the phone should be able to direct Weather Service messages like geolocated to where I am if I'm in a flash flood emergency.
Okay, so you kind of get the gist with that guy. Here's the other girl.
I'm going to start off and say that this is not book-related content. This is me coming as a degreed meteorologist, someone who is a meteorologist actively on TV right now, talking about what happened, the tragedy that occurred this past weekend in the Texas Hill Country. Before I break down the science and I break down the narration that's going around right now that no one was prepared, no one was warned, if you turn this political, please see yourself out of my comments right now. We are not talking about politics, okay, when it deals with the loss of life of so many human beings. So many who were children just wanting to go and enjoy summer camp. Now, with that being said, the narrative that's going around right now that no one was prepared, no one was warned is completely and totally false. If you choose to stay uninformed, that is on you. That is not on the people putting out the message. Firstly, it is not uncommon to see flash flooding in the Texas Hill Country. These riverbeds are made of limestone and a bunch of rocky soils, porous. They're not going to be absorbing this water easily ever. Also, it's the Texas Hill Country, okay? So there's lots of ups and downs. There's a lot of canyons where these rivers become very narrow. So when you have flash flooding, it's gonna quickly funnel that water through and then pick up the speed of the water. So this is not uncommon. There are many major floods that have occurred down in the Texas Hill Country. 2002, 1998, 1978, okay? There are so many different events of major flooding that have happened down in these areas.
But I was told it was climate change. That's what I was told. The climate's always changing. What do you mean? I was also told it was Donald Trump's fault. Donald Trump told the weather, hey, dump tons of water on this area and cause the river to rise 25 feet and just wipe out a bunch of people. I was told Donald Trump went out and talked to them. Yeah, Donald Trump controls the weather. It's a remarkable thing. The guy has freaking superpowers.
In these areas like Kerrville and along the Guadalupe River because it's prone to flooding. With that being said, the meteorologist didn't warn anybody narrative has to go away, especially from Texas officials going around and pointing the finger and saying that this is because of the Doge cuts. This has not taken effect yet. In fact, the National Weather Service office down there, that's Austin and San Antonio, was overstaffed because they were prepared for this event. In a typical flooding event, they would have 2 meteorologists on staff, okay? They had...
So she's going to reiterate, this goes on for 7 minutes, folks. If you want to see both of these videos, because the other guy talks for another 3 minutes, his video was 5 minutes and some change, her video is 7 minutes and some change, feel free to head over to my TikTok, and if you go to my repostings, you will see the 2 gentlemen right here. So make sure you go grab those up. By the way, just want to point out, we did go viral once again on July 4th. We have almost our most popular video, which I don't know what happened, but truly bonkers. Our video for that is right here, 1.3 million views. To give you an idea, those 2 videos I just showed you are considered viral, and we have 3 times the amount of views as they do. So this might be my most popular video coming up here in just one moment, but truly bonkers, meaning we have gone viral each week here over summer. That's, folks, people have been on this platform since it started and never went viral. Going viral every single week. And that's thank you to you guys for always tuning in and taking care of me. So appreciate you. All righty. So that's what the media is saying, just spinning this, making Donald Trump try to seem like he's an evil, terrible, bad man. You have Kristi Noem is praising Coast Guard rescue swimmer for braving Texas waters. She says here, United States Coast Guard rescue swimmer and Petty Officer Scott Ruskin directly saved an astonishing 165 victims in the devastating flood in central Texas. This was the first rescue mission of his career, and he was the only triage coordinator at the scene. Scott Ruskin is an American hero. His selfless courage embodies the spirit and mission of the United States Coast Guard. Absolutely amazing. Just amazing. I got goosebumps talking about that. Guys risking his life and saved 165 people, one man. Remarkable. That guy deserves something. That guy deserves a nice vacation. Now he's just doing his job. Some say, well, he's just out. That's what he signed up for. Yeah. But you know what? I would say going a little above and beyond, man, 165 times. You know, if he would have screwed up any way, shape, or form, you know, he ain't going home to see his family. He's putting his life on the line for people that he doesn't even know. Shows what it means to be an American. Hell yeah. God bless Texas. Trump issues a disaster declaration as Texas reels amid devastating floods. Look, you can't come after the guy for not responding quick enough. Guy's phone's always open. What are you going to say? He's sleeping like Joey? Yeah, I couldn't get a hold of him. I don't think anybody's going to believe that conversation. Gavin Newsom already tried it. Yeah, I ever heard from the president. It's like, really? The guy's up till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and wakes up at 6. The guy sleeps 4 hours a day, or in some cases goes multi-days without even sleeping. You think he wasn't able to pick up the phone? I don't believe you one damn bit, sir. Not one damn bit. So here's his tweet right here. Very similar to what we already read before, but Kristi Noem was there immediately. And so was Donald Trump in the sense of being on top of this, talking to Governor Greg Abbott, talking to Patrick, and seeing, look, what can we do here? Whatever you need, I'm going to be sending it in. I'll send a damn brigade, the whole military. I don't care what branch. If you need all of them, we're sending them in. And it's such a drastic difference than what you got from Joe Biden with North Carolina. Oh yeah, here's a tiny check. Oh, 6. So we're giving $1 trillion in 4 years under Joe Biden to illegal immigrants, but you're going to give a $750 check to American citizens to help them out. Talk about a safety net, huh? I'm going to lose it on that one. It pisses, dude, that pisses me off so bad. I got no qualms with spending billions, hundreds of billions of dollars to help these people get themselves, get their fucking house out of the mud. How about that? Their house is 10 feet under mud. I got no problem spending a bunch of money helping out American people, but I'm so tired of helping out others that don't pay into the system, that just siphon from it. And that goes for Americans too, that just siphon from it, that don't ever want to get out. I'm so tired of it. It's annoying, man. It's annoying. Yeah, why don't I just stop working and start siphoning from the system too? Let me just roll over and be a fucking lazy SOB, Out here working multiple jobs, busting my ass, and there's people that have more groceries than I do. The fuck? Anywho, here's Trump set to send a dozen take it or leave it trade deals. We did cover this a little bit last week. So we got a couple updates here with not just Donald Trump, but also Scott Bessent. And, before we go to this, let's first, if you could support us by hitting that like and subscribe button, follow us. It's absolutely free. We do have membership options. Remember, you guys, if you were a part of the Bald Brad Army, the 99-cent option, you're no longer a member anymore. A lot of you have been re-upping to the new one, which I think is $2.99 now. I told you it was going to be $1.99, but YouTube said, hey, this is the most popular option. Go with this one, the $2.99. Don't feel like you have to, but would really love if you could re-up your membership. Again, if you were paying 99 cents a month and you had a badge, that is gone now. You were removed from that. I forcibly removed you from that tier. So you have to go in and sign up for the memberships again, meaning when I say the membership went like this, a vertical decline, that's exactly what the graph looked like. But would love for all of you, if you feel like you get something out of this and that I'm worth $2.99 to you, would love for you to re-up. But if you feel like, hey, you're not worth it, you son of a bitch, then I get it. That's why we have baldbrad.com. You can donate over there as well. And some of you are using that, by the way. So thank you. I get notifications every time something gets processed and it says your name and everything. Really, really appreciate all of you supporting the show constantly. All righty. Well, here we go. Let's check out the market right now. The market had dipped this morning. So here's what we're working with. Let's do 5-day if it wants to load for me. Volume not available. Sick. Okay. So we're up in the last month. We're up 4.33. Now this is the S&P 500, but we are up. You can see a lot of economic events happening, and this is going to continue definitely through probably September. And I hope we stop seeing economic events. That'd be kind of nice for a while, unless they're really positive. And then here's your 6 month, right? Donald Trump gets in, boom, oh my God. And then, but now it's up. So we are still higher than we were when Donald Trump took office. All of a sudden, not a talking point for the left anymore, right? It started with eggs, and then it moved to this. And now it's the economy. He's destroying your 401ks. Just always moving the needle. What can we complain about? What's bad about this guy? What can we find? Now they're saying that the guy could change the weather. I mean, it's a freaking crazy thing. Donald Trump can change the weather now. Unbelievable. So Trump said he had signed letters to 12 countries outlining the various tariff levels that would be faced on goods they export to the United States, with the take it or leave it offers to be sent out. What I'm assuming happened is these countries aren't willing to work, and they're like, hey, we gave you a bunch of time. Here's a take it or leave it offer. If you're not willing to work with it, then fine. We're just going to go with what we think is best, and then we'll just deal with it from there. Now, it is true that we end up paying these tariffs, but the objective, remember, is to bring manufacturing and jobs back here in the United States. And people forget this. If you're debating somebody, so this kind of goes with Jeff as well, because Jeff does debates on TikTok. Remember, this is like your ammo, is that they keep saying when Donald Trump imposes these tariffs on all these countries that, oh, we're going to have to pay for it. But remember, you only have to pay for it if they're not willing to manufacture their product here. It's not that they have to build all of their stuff here. They just have to have some sort of manufacturing here in the United States that's building these products to circumvent that tariff. So that's a point that almost I've listened to a lot of debates now. Almost everybody's leaving out of the equation. No. Just because he puts a tariff on, say, China, if a company wants to circumvent that tariff, All they need to do is manufacture some goods here. So no, not just because there's a tariff on China doesn't mean that, hey, if you have or you are doing business with them, you might not have the tariff at all because you're manufacturing here in the United States. So again, these are companies exporting here to the United States. So if I was to say make Bald Bradshaw shirts, as long as I produce some shirts here and then I could produce the majority over in China, at least I'm producing some here, I can circumvent that tariff. I'm fine. Trump speaking to reporters about aboard Air Force One as he traveled to New Jersey declined to name the countries involved, saying that would be made public on Monday. Well, it's Monday now. I'll see if there's any updates on that, but I'd imagine it'd be a little bit later. He has his hands full right now, trying to make sure everything's handled correctly in Texas. You know, these I can care less about any of these. I can care less about any other country. We need to take care of our own country for a bit, specifically make sure all eyes are on Texas and anybody else that has a natural disaster going on and make sure they're taken care of first. Fuck everybody else. Trump had earlier on Thursday told reporters that he expected a first batch of letters to go out on Friday, a national holiday in the United States. Trump in April announced a 10% tariff and additional amounts for most countries. Okay, so that's what's going on there. We got Scott here in the mix. Scott Bessa, School CNN on what's happening with Medicaid funding will go up. We have Treasury Secretary here talk about the one big beautiful bill with yours truly, Dana Bash, who clearly has her head up her you know what. It's real. I've always said this. You know, you live in a remarkable country when you could be on national television and you could be this stupid, kind of like the ladies on The View, and go out and just say whatever you want, which is your right to do so, but you get paid millions of dollars to do it. I'm an idiot. I would love to be paid millions of dollars to espouse my dumb opinions. That would be great. I would have no problems with it. Just shows you how great of a country we are. There's a little bit of a long clip, but we're going to watch it all the way through.
How is making cuts on Medicaid programs?
Well,
how does that and how it affects the people who are at the lowest ranking when it comes to income? How does that help with the affordability crisis in America?
Well, first of all, that affordability and saving Medicaid, let's separate those. And only in DC is a 20% hike over 10 years, a cut. So Medicaid funding will go up 20% over the next 10 years. The people who Medicaid were designed for, the pregnant women, the disabled, and families with children under 14 will be refocused. The able-bodied Americans are not vulnerable Americans, so a work requirement or a community service requirement, that's very popular with the public, and many state programs have that now.
It might be popular, but it's not what the president promised. The president promised that there would not be changes to Medicaid benefits, and putting a work requirement is, by definition, a change to benefits.
No, there are no change in benefits. There's a change in requirements to get the benefits. And what we are doing, we are bringing back manufacturing jobs. We are bringing back working class jobs. By securing the border, we have already seen working class wages move up. So we are creating jobs. People can get off Medicaid and get a job that has good health care benefits, Dana.
In theory, that works, but I'm sure you've seen and heard a lot of the concern, including and especially from Republicans who are the most vocal in Congress, about the fact that those work requirements are going to be very cumbersome to actually prove, and it will inevitably force the people who need that Medicaid coverage off the rolls.
Well, first of all, the Republicans are not the most vocal on this. It is a group of Democrats who unfortunately seem to think that poor people are stupid. I don't think poor people are stupid. I think they have agency, and I think to have them register twice a year for these benefits, that it is not a burden. But these people who want to infantilize the poor and those who need these Medicaid benefits are alarmist.
Yeah, but
it boggles my mind that because you have to do something, it's automatically a burden. So anytime in this country, I mean, that's how good we have it, man. Anytime you have to do anything, it's a burden. That conversation can go all the way to voting, your voting rights. Well, I gotta go to the polls to vote to, make sure I'm it's like, come on. And that's why they do mail-in ballots or whatever for people. I get it that some people aren't able to get there, but it's like, really? You're getting health care and you're going to complain you got to fill out some paperwork? Yeah, it's good. It's a burden for everybody, no matter what paperwork you have to do, whether that's at work for some bullshit thing or it's not for work and it's for something frivolous. You know what? Here's the thing. You want to know what's a burden? Paying taxes. How about that? So let's go with the Democrats' idea here. Because anything's a burden, thus I shouldn't have to do it. Okay, let's do it with taxes and totally for it. Totally for it. Let's do away with it. No taxes. It's such a burden to fill out that 1040, that Schedule A, the Schedule B, the Schedule C, the Schedule E. It's such a burden to track my mileage, to make sure I have my receipts, and I have to have those locked up for 7 years because I don't want to be audited. Whatever it is, that's all a burden. Yeah. So you know what? I would say it's more of a fucking burden to fill out your taxes than it is to sign up for Medicaid. Yeah, I think it would. How many of you do your own taxes? That's multiple schedules. Not many Americans. They don't know how to do it. But it's a burden. So because it's a burden, we shouldn't have to do it. I love it. Fuck, man, people are lazy. God, when did we start having such a lazy culture, man? Well, it's tough to go out and work. Can't do it. Yes, again, some people it is. I'm not talking about the small group of people that struggle. I'm talking about people that are able to go out and do something and they don't because they're lazy. Or they make bad decisions and then we're supposed to pay for somebody's bad decisions. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't, but I don't want exactly to continue to pay for that bad behavior for said individual that had the bad behavior at one point. We give them a safety net to offset that bad behavior that they had in the hopes that they don't commit that bad behavior again, so I don't have to continue to shell out money for said bad behavior. The goal is that you learn from that bad behavior. We help you get out of that mistake that you made, and so you can live a nice and fruitful life and not continue to mooch off the American people. A guy like me that's working multiple jobs. Yeah, I would appreciate that I don't have to work multiple jobs because I'm getting taxed up the fucking ass because your ass wants to be lazy. So I'm working to pay for you, but I'm also working to pay for all these fucking illegals here and everybody else. Yeah, it's a little frustrating because I'm the one that's having to do it, as are all of you. Gee, why is rent so expensive? God, I don't fucking know. Maybe because I live in Southern California and it doesn't matter where I move, it's always going to be impacted because there's 20 million people here, which is more than half the population of our states if you move the proportion of illegal aliens around the country of where they're at. Yeah, I would think that might have caused the supply and demand to go up a little bit, right? Just a little bit. Man, it drives me up a wall, dude. It really does. That pisses me off. Very rarely do I get pissed off in politics. There's things that just really irk me. And it's when people create excuses and they're lazy and they blame other people. And sometimes blaming other people is deserved. So here's updates on tariffs here. Trump will revive foreign tariffs in countries don't move along by August 1st. So again, this goes into what we were talking about before, that those 12 countries, there's probably more to be realistic, but that's what he's referring here with Dana Bash. So we don't really need to hash that out. This was interesting. So Jake Paul fought this Mexican boxer, and I'll be honest, just completely destroyed him. I actually watched this fight, and Jake Paul, I thought it was rigged, and I'll tell you why. I've watched boxing and UFC. My dad was in Shotokan. He's a black belt. And so we would watch UFC stuff, especially like Huntington Beach, California, back in the day when you had like Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, like that type of generation, Ken Shamrock. These guys would go down to Huntington Beach, California, because that's where Tito Ortiz lived. And they would all be on Main Street. I mean, it was so common to see people with like tap out shirts back in the day down there in Huntington. That's where all the fighters went. So if you went to have like a brew down there at the bar, you're almost guaranteed to see people with cauliflower ear and stuff like that. So I've seen a lot of boxing. I've seen a lot of UFC. When I say this guy right here on the left, who's an actual boxer, maybe threw 1 or 2 punches in like 3 rounds, I mean that. I remember looking over at my wife and I was like, I don't like, why is this? He's not throwing any punches. It was weird. It was the oddest thing. I've never seen that before. I really do think, it was only, yeah, the 3 or 4 rounds, only like 3 punches. If you look at his punch card, you would see that it wasn't until like the 9th or 10th round that he threw almost all of his punches. So what happened here was Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was arrested. Do we really need to do this with people? Can I go to the chat here really quick? Are you guys like me that get annoyed with this crap? Do we really need to be like Julio Cesar, Miguel Estrada, Guadalupe, El Salvador, Chavez Jr.? Like, do we need to do the whole name thing? Does anybody else find that fucking really, really annoying? Can't we just say Julio Jr. or Julio Chavez? Do we need to do the junior thing? And do we, like, you can have it there, but is it really necessary to do it every time? It's just like, I don't know. To me, it seems so like I'm above everybody else type of mentality. Maybe I'm reading too far into it. That's just how I view it. It's like, give me a break. Your name's Julio, bro. Like, I don't care if it's a white person. Brad, Delanor, Judicious, I'm making up words now at this point, Armadillo, Crack Pipe Roberts. You know, it's like, I don't need you to say my whole name. I don't even need you to say Bradley, because legally my name is Bradley. I don't even need you to do that. If you want to call me Brad, call me dipshit, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I don't need you to say my whole name. It's like, God. Anyways, this guy was arrested by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents on Wednesday and is facing deportation to Mexico for overstaying his visa and lying on a green card application. How many times do we have to hear this? How many times do we have to hear people lying on their green card or their visa or whatever it is constantly? Oh, I hate terrorism. And then they come here and say, I love terrorism. Or they overstay it. The arrest came just days after Chavez faced off against boxer and influencer Jake Paul in Anaheim, California. They were at the Honda Center, which I was literally right next to for dinner yesterday. It's like stone throw from the Honda Center. Chavez, a Mexican citizen, has committed numerous crimes while staying in the United States and has apparent ties to the cartel. Oh, this is lovely. A designated foreign terrorist organization. He's facing organized crime charges in Mexico. The cartel affiliate with an active arrest warrant for trafficking guns, munitions, and explosives was arrested by ICE. Homeland Security Assistant Secretary stated. McLaughlin noted that Chavez was allowed re-entry in the United States under the Biden administration and emphasized that under the President Donald Trump, cartel affiliates will not be allowed to remain in the country. It's just amazing how many of these people we kind of find out like just did heinous crimes and Joe Biden just allowed them to come in. Quote, it's shocking the previous administration flagged this criminal illegal alien as a public safety threat, but still chose not to prioritize his removal and let him leave and come back into our country. I've said this for years, and I'm going to say it again. And I hope this does not happen. Like from the pits of my loins. Is that even a phrase? I would not be shocked if there was a massive terrorist event that happened here within the next 3.5 years under Donald Trump. I would not be shocked. And here's the thing. Who do you think they're going to blame? And I said this before. It's actually on camera. You can find clips of it somewhere in the catalog over the last 4 years. They would blame Donald Trump for this. You're going to get Kash Patel you're going to blame him. Then you're going to blame Dan Bongino. And you're going to blame everybody. Everybody that's there. Because Joe Biden allowed all these sleeper cells to come in. Sleeper cells, illegal aliens, all this stuff. The Mexican president came out. Looks like I almost said a really bad joke. You know what? We'll save it for later. Mexican president came out, will deport and serve the sentence in Mexico. Chavez's B2 tourist visa expired in February. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement in December made a referral to ICE. So let's see his rap sheet here. This guy's a good guy, Maryland man, right? Just another Maryland man. So let's see. California Highway Patrol arrested Chavez and charged him with a DUI and driving without a license. So that's January 22nd. It looks like 5 months later, 6 months, basically, 6 months, California Superior Court of Los Angeles convicted Chavez for the offense of driving under the influence of alcohol and sentenced him to 13 days in jail and 36 months on probation. Then almost a decade later, rather, A district judge issued an arrest warrant for Chavez for the offense of organized crime for the purpose of committing crimes of weapon trafficking and manufacturing crimes in the modality of those who participate in clandestinely bringing weapons, munitions, cartridges, explosives into the country, and those who manufacture weapons, ammunitions, cartridges, and explosives without the consent or corresponding permit. A year later, the Los Angeles Police Department arrested Chavez and charged him with illegal possession of an assault weapon and manufactured or import short barrel rifles. It's amazing. I mean, not only just to be arrested is like blows my mind, but like the amount of encounters people have with the police is just astonishing to me. I can count on one hand. I can count on a couple fingers the amount of times I've encountered the police. Knock on wood, I've been pulled over twice in my life. And I've detailed those out. One, a guy pulled me over for allegedly being on my phone, which I never was. That one was actually BS, and I took the ticket. And the other one was, and I didn't get a ticket for this one. The other one was I was going straight, but I was supposed to be making a left-hand turn because of the way the street was. There's actually no specifically left-hand turn lane. And so he pulled me over, and he was cool about it. I was like, well, dude, I mean, there's no left-hand turn. It was just like, you can go straight here or not. And I didn't know which one to do. I needed to go straight. And I didn't know if this lane did or didn't, the way that there's the island across the street. It wasn't residential. It wasn't anything crazy. Didn't break the law. I mean, I don't even know. I hand the guy, I don't even know what you would give me a ticket for. My dad was a cop. My grandfather was a cop. So I asked him, like, what would you even give me a ticket for? I don't even know what law I broke. He pulled me over. I was nice about it. Did the whole 10-on-2, right? Remember how they we're told that only this applies to black people, where you have to make sure you keep your hands at 10-and-2, right, and follow the officer's orders. If that guy told me to lick the dog shit off his boot, I would do it. My dad, even when he was a cop, would always tell me, if that guy wants to search your car, you get the fuck out of that car and you let him search it. You listen to that guy says jump, you say how high, sir? And that's how I talk to them. I'm not kidding. I say yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. That's how I talk to them. Thank you. I appreciate it, officer. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Yes, sir. Okay, I reach into my glove compartment to get my stuff. Understood. Yes, sir. Okay, I'm going to reach for it. I don't mess around, but yeah, everyone's entitled. If you want to get your ass kicked, that's on you, but I ain't looking to get anything done. Did we ever find the bombs that were smuggled in? Are you talking about the ones that were smuggled in by the Iranians, the surface to air missiles? I don't know about bombs smuggled in. I don't know about that. So I don't know, but here's the thing. It doesn't remember, a bomb doesn't have to be smuggled in. Remember how, so this is the scary part. And this kind of is what shocked Sean Ryan. When Sarah Adams was talking about the new tech that the terrorists have, is a lot of us kind of have still ingrained in our mind, and I know I'm like this, maybe none of you, but we still have ingrained in our mind the old footage that we saw of the Taliban back in 2001 when the towers fell, and then you're seeing all this old footage of them walking around with their robes. You know what I mean? They look like fucking Moses and the Pharisees and shit back in the day. And, carrying their AK-47s in caves, and that's where they're hiding out, right? And we would go and blow up a bunch of mountaintops and all this shit back when. That's how we still envision these people living out of mud huts and walking around with sandals and shit with just AK-47s, not knowing how to fire them. That's not what it looks like nowadays. If you saw the Taliban, or if you saw these guys that are terrorists now, you would have a tough time determining, just from a visual standpoint, if they were like an actual service member, like a United States service member, because they have all the same gear that we do pretty much, because Joe Biden wanted to keep it there. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So, I mean, I'm talking full tactical gear, just spot on. The training is top notch. You could see all that footage, by the way, if you go to the Sean Ryan podcast and watch it. And I'll try to pull up some stuff in real time, maybe. But they're very sophisticated with their tactics now. So what the worry is that they have this new explosive vest, the suicide vest, and it's not detectable. You won't be able to detect it through drug sniffing dogs. It doesn't get picked up on the oh my God, I can't even think of the word right now. I ran out of coffee. The metal detector. And it's very slim, so you can wear it. It's a very, very thin, and it packs a punch. And so they're worried because there's no way of really detecting this thing. And that's the new vest that they have. So it's undetectable. Let me see if I could, I want to see if I can find the video that I was referring to. So this is a video. This is the one that I was referring to. But you can kind of see a little bit here of what. So allegedly, this is them. This is not the video I was referring to, but this is the idea of what I was referring to. Now, we left all our stuff there, but, you know, it looks like it is our equipment, right? But it's not the video I was referring to. Like, we remember this stuff, right? Where they couldn't even do jumping jacks. This is not what I'm referring to. Do you guys remember this? It's like this is who we're trying to, it almost seems like a joke. And this might be satire, but I believe this is real. When we were trying to train these guys to, like, can you imagine you need to rely on this guy for anything? I'm trying to see if I can find the specific video here. That I was referring to, but I mean, like I said, it is like different, you know. Granted, they have all our equipment. You can thank Joe Biden, Democrats for that. Like I said, anytime you want to bring up anything with Democrats, just bring up all the stuff that Joey did. Leaving military grade equipment, you just weaponize an entire group of people. You know, all these feminists come out. Oh, you know, you treating women 55 cents on the dollar. You know, some stupid crap that they always come up with. Yeah. Why don't you go and complain about what's going on in the Middle East and how they treat women? Yeah, and by the way, the guy that you voted for just gave them a bunch of weapons and are executing women left and right in the streets. But that's fine. Yeah, we can't talk about that, though, because you're bigoted. So Ukraine's Zelensky says latest call with Trump was most productive yet. Let's see what he means by that, if there's any details in this article. It says, regarding the conversation with the President of the United States, which took place a day earlier, it was probably the best conversation we have had during this whole time, the most productive. We discussed air defense issues, and I'm grateful for the willingness to help. The Patriot system is precisely the key to protection against ballistic threats. Zelensky said that two leaders have discussed several other important matters that officials from the two sides would be considering in forthcoming meetings. Trump told reporters on Friday that he would call with Zelensky and restated his disappointment at a conversation with Russian Vladimir Putin over what he said was Moscow's lack of willingness to work towards a ceasefire. Asked whether the United States would agree to supply more Patriot missiles to Ukraine as requested by Zelensky, Trump said they're going to need them for defense. They're going to need them something because they're getting hit pretty hard. Now, the question is, are we going to pull the same stunt that we did of, well, here's more of our stuff on the backs of taxpayers once again, or are they going to pay for it? Now, remember, the EU actually did it right, where the EU said, look, we're not going to just give you this stuff. We'll give it to you on loan, but you're going to have to pay us back interest later. Now, here's the thing. I don't even necessarily trust that they're going to be able to pay it back later. So they might not even have a country later. If they think, now there's some talks that maybe Russia is not exactly the strongest force that we all thought they were. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm leaning towards that idea. If they can't even really fully take out Ukraine, because if they really wanted it, I'd imagine they could just take it. But I'm going to keep all eyes on this because I don't exactly want to continue to spend more money on somebody else's war. We got enough to figure out here. We got to get our own selves under control. Really quickly, this is something that I talked about over the weekend. You would know this story if you followed me on the TikToks or potentially here on YouTube. I think I did upload the short on it, where American veterans were injured in a grenade attack while distributing aid to Gaza. So in short, I can actually paraphrase this because I know this story already. This is how you know when I read articles beforehand, because I can go in a full story mode about it. So you had these American contractors that were out there working for the Gaza Humanitarian Aid, which is a U.S.-backed group. And they're out there giving meals to people in Gaza. And this group has given 60 million meals. So this whole idea that these people aren't being fed, they are being fed, maybe not enough, but they are being given aid out there. Now, what happened was they threw, these Iranians threw grenades at these American veterans. Luckily, they're in stable condition. They're hurt, but they're in stable condition. But then allegedly the group here, the Gaza Humanitarian Aid Group, said that the Iranians put out a hit on any Palestinian or individual that is willing to offer aid. I'm sorry. Well, Hamas is the one that said it, but allegedly the guys that threw the grenades were Iranian backed. Okay, that's what the report is. But so the idea is, well, Hamas wants to have control over who gets the food and who doesn't because you have the power. And so Hamas is out there trying to delete anybody that offers food services and meals to the people in Gaza. But don't worry, we're the bad guys, right? We're the terrible people, which is always why you see me get frustrated when I hear these pro-Palestinian individuals not condemn Hamas. They do, but then they walk this fine line of like, well, I understand why they would do it because look at what Western civilization has done. So that's the update there. Very terrible stuff. But here's what the ball bearings look like from the grenades. These are fragments of a grenade packed with ball bearings, 2 of which were thrown by Hamas at American aid workers delivering food in Gaza. The men who threw them ran into a crowd of civilians because they're cowards, bunch of pussies. And here we are. So terrible, terrible stuff. You have here some updates with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden really quickly. We'll kind of go through this relatively fast. But if you're enjoying still hearing and listening to the Ball Brad Show, make sure you give us a thumbs up. Appreciate you guys. We also, again, have the channel Spooky Adventures. We did a awesome, it's long, but it's an awesome ghost investigation. We watched it. And when I say an hour and a half of just pure cinema, I really do mean it. Like, you're not going to be sitting there for 30 minutes going, well, where's stuff happening? The longest you'll have to wait is maybe 5 minutes throughout. Other than that, it's pretty much jam-packed full of from just spooky, ooky, freaky, deaky stuff happening. So phenomenal investigation by Jason Hawes of Ghost Hunters. Just crazy, crazy, crazy. Well, speaking of other crazy, crazy, crazy stuff, a new book details the strain Hunter Biden put on the 2024 campaign. Here's a reminiscent of what your president used to look like. Joe Biden, completely lost, not having an actual fuck what's going on, which is typical. President Joe Biden's embattled son, Hunter Biden, was, what is that called? A Beastros around the neck of his father during the 2024 presidential campaign. According to a new book coming soon from Wall Street Journal reporter Josh Dowsey. Dowsey, during an appearance on Sunday morning broadcast this week, said that Hunter Biden was a major figure in Biden's inner circle. He's not breaking any news here. During the campaign, and how heavily his first son's court case had weighed on the president and his family. So basically, you're not giving us any news. Yeah, my crack prostitute-ridden son, who allegedly did foreign business dealings, was a really, really damper on the campaign. Like, really? Yeah, I don't need a whole book to tell me that. I know that already. Matter of fact, you're not going to give me probably any new information than what I already know. So a lot of you are asking for my Spooky Adventures channel. Just a couple things. It is in the description, you guys, but here's the link. So I'll give you guys my link to it's in YouTube, and so you guys, you can find this everywhere, but I want to make sure you have it. You can find, it should be in the description. Let me double check. I thought I updated the description. It's not in the description. So that's on me. But there it is. You have the link right there. I'll make sure I update my description information and have that there for you. I try to separate I thought it's there though. I guess it didn't update. Interesting. Okay. Well, it's in the chat now, so you can go there and subscribe. Now, again, I just want to emphasize, if you do watch it, can you watch it all the way through, please? Any of my content that you guys stumble across, if you do click on it, try not to pause it or go away from it if you can. It really helps support the show tremendously in the analytics if you watch it all the way through. So YouTube tracks all you guys individually. It doesn't matter whose content you watch. They're always tracking your analytics individually. And so I can go in and not see you individually, but I can see an aggregated average of what people are watching. And so anytime you have my stuff, if you could just keep it on until it's finished or watch a video all the way through, that does support the show like tremendously. So if you don't I don't need to hear what the hell you have to say, Brad. Brad, I want you to shut up. Just pop me on mute. Just mute the video and just walk away, make a cup of coffee, go take a shit. I don't know what you do, but that helps tremendously if you could do that. So if Spooky Adventures, you can support the show that way. Even if you're not into it, if you guys just watch it all the way through, just leave it running, go out to the movies or something, come back. That helps tremendously. So thank you so much. We're trying to get that channel up and running this summer. It's kind of tough because I don't upload all the time, but anywho. Johnson drags Dems who claim they're happy to run against big, beautiful bill. Well, that's fine because your numbers suck. The Democrats' numbers are freaking terrible. After his key role in getting President Trump's big, beautiful bill budget passed, House Speaker Mike Johnson outlined his plans for the future with more reconciliation bills on the way and offered a response to Democrats claiming they were happy to run against the bill. What deals were made? I have that question too. And this was asked by Shannon Bream. There are a couple of members who've said they were given assurances outside of this bill of other things that they would get down the line, basically promises made or IOUs. I don't make deals, Johnson replied bluntly, never have since I became speaker, which is why I'm still surviving with the gavel. You have to find out what people's red lines are and navigate through that with what we've had in the smallest margin in U.S. history at this point along the way. I don't know if I believe that because nothing really changed all that much. So there had to be something with some sort of concessions in there for people. I'm not sure if I fully believe that. Excuse me, but he could be telling the truth. But I don't believe it. I think there's promises made and IOUs given. Now, as I mentioned, I think if Donald Trump can get the economy booming, I think this first year, with all the court cases and seeing how much power the executive branch has and getting all this stuff done, I think now that we have this big, beautiful bill in, if he can make this next year really prosperous, and I think he will based on everything that's going, and God forbid, as long as we don't have any new wars or anything going on, and he continue this whole movement of peace and getting the Middle East up and running, guys, I think we're going to have a solid next 3 years. I think we're going to have a freaking explosive 3 years. If we can get, I have goosebumps talking about it. My whole body has goosebumps. Because I really do firmly believe this. I don't blow smoke up your guys' ass, as you know. I mean, I will if you want. There you go. There's something for you. I don't even know if me blowing in the mic came across, but if we can get the interest rates down, I really do think you're going to see some explosive stuff here. As they say in Back to the Future, when this baby hits 88 miles an hour, you're going to see some serious shit. Now, speaking of serious shit, we got the Epstein drop. They did this late last night, and I'm talking late. And this is where you guys come in, and we're going to the chat regarding this whole article. I got to know what you guys think, and I mean this in all sincerity. This one's tough for me, you guys. This one's really, really tough. And I'm not being satirical. I'm actually not joking. Here we go. Everybody sees what's on the screen. Now is the time. Now is the time to let me know. Because it's not just the video. Now, we knew it was going to be a nothing burger, though, Karen. We knew, because that's Dan Bongino said you're not going to see anything. So I'll show you the video, but I knew we weren't going to see anything because Dan said, the video is not what I'm talking about. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a moment here, because it goes against what Kash Patel said. So the Department of Justice released a video from the prison in which the late financier and convicted child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019, concluding that nobody entered his cell that day and that it was in a fact a suicide, and that was relayed by Dan Bongino. Now remember, Dan is not going to give us what he thinks because he's in a different role. This isn't his podcast anymore. So what he's going on, Dan Bongino, is he goes on what the evidence says, what's in front of him in the file. That's regardless of, well, there is this guy saying this, there is this reporter saying that, and kind of connecting the dots and stuff like that. He's not going to do that when he's in government. That's not how he functions. But when he gets back on his podcast, however long he's going to be serving here, maybe it's all 4 years, I expect to hear a lot of crazy stuff. But then the conversation is, if there's all that crazy stuff, why didn't you do something about it? Maybe we didn't have the evidence. We didn't have enough to prosecute, whatever. Now, here's where things get frustrating for me. The video was released in a memo that also details Justice Department findings from an investigation into an extensive or the existence of an Epstein client list and the questions around his death. Hone in on that client list, you guys, okay? The findings state that Epstein did not keep a client list and that his death in 2019 was a suicide. I need to see if I can find this clip. Okay, I need to see cash. There's a specific interview that I'm looking for. And here it is. I don't know if this is the exact one, but let's see.
Whatever you want to do. You need a 24/7 declassification office. Whatever you want to.
This is Kash Patel before he was FBI director.
Call it transparency, truth, whatever. I don't care. Sits in the White House, reports directly to you, and you take incoming from the United States of America. I want JFK. I want the 9/11 files. I want this. I want that. All the FBI, and this is a tool. This is something we didn't cover. What the deep state uses the most to cover up their corruption is an illegal application of the classification system.
All right, I have it for you. I found it. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Listen to this.
But who? That is that. I mean, there's.
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school. Yeah. We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game. That's why you don't have a black book. Or the
but the black book, it's not just sitting. I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the black book. And not just that. On day one, roll out all of the text messaging communications we were told were deleted. On day one, play the rest of the video of the pipe bomber. On day, one of the reforms I talk about in government gangsters is you need a central node to be continuously declassifying. This is another thing they do. They overclassify. And I'm telling you, as a former number 2 in the IC, they overclassify 50% of the stuff there to protect the deep state. Oh, no, you can't see that. Nothing to see here. Gina was a master at it, of doing it. And we still haven't seen half of the Russiagate report that we wrote. Still under lock and key. On how the ICA...
I have a tough time, man. Because Kash Patel said that the black book, the specific one I was looking for was where he said the black book was contained by the FBI director. Like the FBI director has it. And the FBI's kept it hidden. So, dude, this is like, I'm sorry, man. I have a tough time believing that there's nothing. So the memo says that the FBI agents reviewed more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence in the investigation into Epstein and his death. This systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. There was also no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Oh, I don't understand. As part of the investigation, FBI agents reviewed footage from the facility, special housing, and I have that clip for you guys. I'll show you in a moment. It's really underwhelming. It's literally just nothing, pretty much. The Department of Justice reviewed 2 versions of the footage, a raw and enhanced version. The enhanced version of the footage FBI made by increasing its contrast, blah, blah, blah. So let me get that footage for you guys right now. But I'm trying to read what you guys are saying here. A lot of you, somebody been messing around with Epstein. Now the black book disappeared, or there was, I don't know, man. I don't know, Angel. I had my first kid at 20. I just, there's already somewhat of a list that's been online for years. I mean, how do you go from being so like sure that there's an Epstein black book to, oh, well, we got nothing. There is no book anymore. Sorry. Just kidding. I don't know, man. It doesn't sound right, you guys. So let's get you the footage here. Here we go. You guys, it's literally 8 seconds. So this is 8-9. This is all you're going to see. This is literally it. I'm playing it for you right now. This is all the footage. It could be like it's not a still image because you can kind of see the light refracting and changing. But this is it. This is all it is. It's just playing in loop. 8 seconds. So we already knew that there wasn't going to be anything here because Dan Bongino said, look, we don't have anything. It's just that there's nobody there. There's nobody coming in and out. The full 11-hour video outside of Jeffrey Epstein's cell has been published on the DOJ's website, showing no one entering the cell. But what's weird was we were told the cameras weren't working. So I don't know. Between the Epstein Black Book, Tucker Carlson's interview with the Iranian president, play the floods in Texas, there's a lot of news today. Yeah, but there's always a lot of news. I'm not deep in the rabbit hole. Like, I love conspiracy theories, but not enough to like, there's people that really go deep, man. Like, that's what they're researching and reading documents for hours and putting puzzle pieces together. I'm not one of those people. I don't care enough. But man, I have a hard time. I mean, how many years do we hear like, oh, he's trafficking all these young women and taking them he has a specific island for this and celebrities go there and these elites. And they're hooking up with these 15-year-old women, 16-year-old. There's a huge trafficking scheme. Look at Ghislaine Maxwell is behind bars for this massive scheme. Where's all the victims? Where's all the guys that hooked up with these women? And they're saying, well, we're not going to release any of the names of people that were harmed. That's fine. I don't need to know their names. How many are there? Where are they? Who were the people that they hooked up with? I mean, somebody had to do something terrible to them. It wasn't just some nameless, faceless, shadowy figure. Hell, maybe they had a ski mask on. I don't know. Now, I did hear somebody talk, and this is kind of out there. I mean, it's possible that, I did not used to believe in the deep state. I really did not. I thought it was bogus. I thought it was conspiracy theory. I thought it was fascinating until I read Jason Chaffetz's book. Jason Chaffetz has a book, who's a guy that I trust, and he's not in Congress anymore. He actually left Congress. He said, for other reasons. But if you read deep, this one I did go down the rabbit hole. If you read deep on why him and Trey Gowdy left, they left because it was dark. Nothing wanted to get done. People didn't want to, fix things. So here's the book that I highly recommend that you read. The Deep State, How an Army of Bureaucrats Protected Barack Obama and is Working to Destroy the Trump Agenda. Dude, the stories this guy will tell you from when he was the chairman of the House Oversight Committee is going to blow your mind. Even he was talking about, like there's people like Men in Black, right? Where he noticed that there's people that were stopping him in other countries from talking to people that were from the United States government. He's like, I have unfettered access to any document I want to see in the United States government. I have like the top security clearance you could possibly give somebody. There's nothing you could stop me from seeing and doing, basically. And he would talk about in the book what he was trying to do to get away from these people. Like they would legitimately stop him from entering rooms practically. And so what he was trying to do was see if he can like go under the radar. So he would like not tell anybody, like literally a soul, that he was going somewhere, and they would still wind up where he's going to be at in his destination. You guys got to read it. It made me a believer. So anyways, there's this idea that there's this shadow government that's being funded, and that's why we've lost $1 trillion here, $2 trillion here, or where's all this money going? How are we $37 trillion in debt? This doesn't even make sense. There's this conspiracy out there that there's actually a shadow government, and the shadow government's the one that's really pulling all the strings, and that's why you don't see all the stuff coming out, the JFK stuff, or the any sort of fictitious group that might be out there, and I'm saying fictitious for a reason, or the Epstein list. We don't see any of these black projects that they're funding. Whether you want to believe that or not, I'm not telling you whether to believe it. I don't even believe it. But I do think there's a deep state out there now, a shadow puppet government that we have that's underground and running the things. I'm not sure. Yes, Snowden, anyone? But the reason why, man, I really trusted Dan Bongino, and I still do. It's just really hard listening to his podcast every day, and for him and Cash to just come out and be like, we don't have anything. Like, what? Nothing? You don't even have anything. Guys, the reason why they're like, we don't have fucking anything to even open up an investigation on. I just don't understand it. I really don't. Sorry, you can't tell me there's this fucking massive sex ring operation and then you don't have anything. Then I don't know. I'm fumbling through my words because I'm trying to process and it's not making sense to me. That says Trey Gowdy, you're right. He is sort of just dissolved. What are you talking about? Trey Gowdy's not dissolved. Dude, Trey's like one of the best congressmen I think's ever existed. I really do mean that. Dusty, I've never believed their lies about the JFK killings. I was 11 when it happened. Still remember that day. Military industrial complex. Yeah, maybe. He said, don't let go of the story over and over. Yeah, I know. And we haven't had the pipe bomb stuff. We'll see. I don't know. I have family in the 3-letter agencies. The looks I get when I ask questions. Yeah. Makes you wonder. We'll see. Well, let's see if there's any updates here before I let you guys go. See if there's any breaking news. A lot of it's about Texas. There's nothing really happening in terms of updates with that. I know there's some weather issues today, so there might be more bad weather in Texas. Make sure you're praying for them. I think the power of prayer is effective. If you guys have opportunities to help raise money for them, you can find some websites for that. I'm not seeing anything. It's kind of the big news going on right now. Let me double check Twitter really quick for any breaking news. Epstein list is the big, so you guys see what I see. Epstein case is trending. Texas flash floods, we covered both of these, and then James Gunn's Superman Tale is American Story. That to me is a rental. Why was Bonnie saying there's thousands of hours of video? Well, there was, right? That's why they were talking about the gigabytes of stuff they went through. That was a part of it. But yeah, she did say she said there was with underage kids, right? Let's see if we can go back to that. Let's see if we can find that. That was Pam Bondi. That was O'Keefe Media. Pam Bondi. O'Keefe. Let's see if we can find that clip for you guys really quick here. It's a screenshot of it. Yeah, okay, here we go. So here's what Krager's talking about.
Attorney General of the United States Pam Bondi was at the White House and disclosed what she represented as brand new information in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, the existence of tens of thousands of videos featuring little children.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
Now, this is the first time an official has publicly acknowledged that videos of Epstein and his victims exist. What you may not know is just 9 days prior, the Attorney General had a very similar conversation with a total stranger in a restaurant.
Do you know when the Epstein files are going to get released?
We hope soon. The FBI's been...
Okay.
So...
Any dates?
No, you know what it is? There are tens of thousands
videos. Yeah. And it's all with little kids, so they have to go through every one.
In the past, officials have spoken about the, quote, mountain of evidence in the Epstein case, but they've never, previous to that moment, acknowledged on the existence of videos of, quote, little kids. Just a few days later, at 2 p.m. on May 1st, our reporter sent the AG's office the text of the recording. We asked why this detail had not been disclosed to the public, but was instead being told to a random stranger at a restaurant. The Attorney General used almost the exact same language as she did with the stranger in the restaurant.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Now, people, again, I'm playing devil's advocate. People tend to exaggerate certain things when they talk, right? And we've talked about this in the past. People have like an ego and stuff like that. And they embellish things. I do this as well. Everybody does it. There could be videos with Epstein with underage chicks, underage women. And there's just not that many clips of that. But then if they mentioned child porn. So maybe majority of that was those videos where it maybe downloaded off the internet. Hell, I don't know where you get that stuff, but the internet's there, right? So maybe you got it from that way. And that's what most of the stuff is. I have no idea, you guys. I don't think anybody does other than the people that were involved in it. And I don't know, Cash Patel, damage, I don't know. I just makes you wonder. Well, thanks for supporting the show, you guys. Always appreciate it. Again, if you could check out the memberships, if that's something that sparks your fancy, please check that out. We also have baldbrad.com. Again, we do have our website. I have updated it. There's new blogs out. I might put a couple more articles out today if I got time to write. These are the two new ones. I think you would enjoy both, actually. I think they're very quick reads, but you go to baldbrad.com, just go to blog. You'll have it there. Again, we have the book, Trojan Horse. I've updated this portion as well. And then if you want to donate, we do have a donate tab up here at the top. We get 97% of the proceeds, by the way. You don't get that from YouTube and Rumble, by the way. They take like 30-40% cuts. It's insane. My website will only take about 3% cut. So Squarespace only takes about 3%. We get 90% of your donation. So if you want to go back to the 99 cents, you just do custom amount here and you just put 0.99 and just make it a monthly donation. There you go. So some people are doing this, or some people are like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to do the $2.99 option on YouTube. I will do the $2.99 option here. And it's just a monthly kick. A lot of you are doing $10, which is nice. If you want to do 40, 50, 100 a month, I'll take your money. I don't care. It goes all back into the show. Not a single dime of your money goes to anything else other than if you tell me to. So one of you guys told me to get a burger. So I went and got a burger this last week. And then I also got Starbucks because somebody gave $5 and said, get a cup of coffee. So I'm being sincere. I really do go do. And you guys say, spend this money on this. I go do it. So I appreciate those. They're like, hey, go buy a cup of coffee. So I go buy a cup of coffee. And just if you're curious, that coffee lasts me 3 days. So I told you guys the cheat code at Starbucks. Other than that, thanks for hanging out. We will be back here tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another episode of the Bald Brad Show, followed along with the last restricted portion of Dark MAGA. So we'll finish our hours tomorrow. That means for the rest of the month, we will, starting Thursday, we'll have it open to everybody. So we'll be popping off on Dark MAGA with everybody able to join for the rest of the month, which is always exciting and it gets me a little giddy. But other than that, pray for this country, pray for Donald Trump. And if you guys have any information about Epstein and stuff like that, you can email me at thebaldbradshow.com. You can find me on X. You can message me there, stuff that you find, all those things. So with that being said, God bless you all. Pray for this country, pray for Donald Trump, and pray for peace on earth. Take care.